Hello, Marissa Rex here with elementarySchoolCounseling.org, a place where school counselors can go to find the resources and support they need to run effective school counseling programs. Today's podcast is called, Go Ahead, Judge This Book by Its Cover. Today I wanted to talk about how image can really impact your school. Before I get started though, I have to at least acknowledge that some educators feel that you need to show professionalism by wearing a suit or very dressed up attire within your school. And I agree to a point that I think we do need to see ourselves as professionals. We need to feel that way when we come to work. Our students, our families, our communities need to see us in that light. And so how we look really makes a difference and can show that professionalism. Where I kind of disagree is that with school counselors, there's one of you. It's a completely different role than a teacher or a principal or any other type of educator within the building. And a lot of times we're not there really for discipline specifically. We work with kids who are maybe having some trouble behaviorally or having trouble academically and need some work in that area, but we're not right there saying you are getting detention or you're getting suspended. We're there to help support them and see what we can do to prevent those things from happening again. So we can be seen professionally, but in a slightly different way. That's just my opinion though, but I have to at least acknowledge that maybe your views differ from mine. But if you're kind of entertaining the idea of how to use your attire in a different kind of way, I hope you keep listening. As you may have noticed, I don't know how you couldn't have, but I'm wearing some very interesting clothing today. It was a spirit day, it was mismatch day, so I just threw on pretty much just random things. I just went in my closet and said, oh, that wouldn't normally go together, and just put it together. I have plaid tights on also, which you can't see, and I was wearing these cat shoes, which are too cute. And I didn't really think much about it. I didn't think that it would really have that big of an impact. I mean, it is a spirit day, everyone's mismatched, but I came into school and the staff and the students were really, I guess, impressed, or they were really excited about it. So it gave me an opportunity to have conversations with students who maybe I normally don't get to see very often. I see them in the classroom when I do a lesson or when we're walking by each other in the hallway, but because of whatever reason, I don't see them individually or in small groups. So I get a chance to really communicate and connect with them, have something that we can share. I can use that for things like counselor mail when I can reference a very specific moment that it was wonderful talking with you on mismatch day. You were so kind and you were really listening, and it was wonderful to be able to really get to know you or have this type of conversation with you. And it's something that makes them feel special, feel appreciated. I think sometimes students don't think that I know them because they don't get to come to my room by themselves. And so when I say hello to them by name in the hallway, it's whoa, or they get their counselor mail, whoa, you know who I am? That's really cool. So I think it's a really great thing to do, to have something on the outside that they can kind of see instantly. I know we teach our students not to judge by how someone looks and that we should really get to know someone. But if we're being honest, we all judge people. We look at them and within a short amount of time, we make a judgment on who we think they are, and it's very hard to, once they have that judgment of you, to kind of retrain their brains and our own to see you in a different light or see someone else in a different light. So why not use that to our advantage and try to have them see us in a very fun, welcoming sort of way. So I decided to bring a few things that give you some examples of how you can use clothing in different ways. And so obviously there are things like shoes. This is a really simple thing. You can have just a typical kind of clothing and wear a sparkly shoe or a shoe with a cat on it, and that can make a really big difference. Students will point out what you're wearing. I have so many different kinds of ballet flats, it's not even funny. So I have different colors and different patterns, and it's very noticeable. You wouldn't think, I mean, it's your feet, but kids notice and they like to comment on it, and it's very fun. Also, if you want to be a little bit more adventurous, you could do something with skirts, for example, or a dress, or having a certain kind of shirt that has a really interesting pattern. I love patterns. This one, for example, has cats on it, so it looks polka dot like. So, I mean, it's a fun skirt, but it's just, I guess, being a little bit extra by having that interesting pattern that kids can find and kind of be surprised by. Also, to go along with a skirt, a lot of times I will wear tights that are really maybe a bright color or have an interesting pattern. So, for example, a simple pink tight, which is really inexpensive. And then I also have something that was kind of more unique, and it's a peacock feather. So it's just something different, something fun, especially in the winter. Things get boring, things feel dark and gloomy, and so brighten things up, and it's another thing that you can use just as a pop of color, a pop of excitement, and kids really notice. Also, I use accessories like rings and pins and necklaces. They're really great conversation starters. So I have something, for example, that's pretty unique. It's a ring that has a saucer and a teacup. I also have this Hunger Games pin. I'm assuming even if you haven't read the books or watched the movie, you've heard of the Hunger Games. Very popular. And while I don't think it's necessarily appropriate for the elementary age students, I mean, regardless, students are going to those movies, they're reading the books, and all I'll do is just kind of put it on my shirt once in a while, walk around. I don't make a big deal out of it, and any student who notices, they usually will make a comment and go, "Oh my gosh, I saw that. I know that's the Hunger Games pin. I know that pin." And then they'll want to know, more about it. Have I read the books? Have I watched the movie? Who's my favorite character? And we have this really fun conversation that kind of I guess, maybe if they had a wall up, kind of brings it down a little bit. And so that if there ever is an issue in the future, we have something positive to look back on. They have a memory of me that's good. And finally, I have my favorite necklace, my T-Rex necklace. This doesn't necessarily apply to all of you, but my last name is Rex, so a Tyrannosaurus Rex necklace is really appropriate. And I use it to help kids remember my name. So at the beginning of the year, I try to wear it fairly often. Kind of misplaced it this year because I was a little disorganized, and so I didn't get to wear it as often as I wanted to, but the kids at least asked about it, so they remembered. But it's just something simple. If they're trying to remember my name, I'll hold this up and then they'll remember. It's something just fun, something unique, and the kids really seem to like it, so why not? So you're probably wondering, where did I get all of this stuff, and more importantly, how did I get it with my school counselor paycheck? So I kind of have a mix of places that I get things from. One of my favorite stores, it's an online store, it's called ModCloth, and the link is right below. And it's a place where you can get really unique items of clothing, and they only have a limited number of these items available. So you know that whatever you're getting is pretty unique. Sometimes they'll sell them again if they're pretty popular, they'll sell them over and over again, but it's not guaranteed. So it's a pretty cool place to go. A lot of this stuff is from ModCloth. Like, for example, these shoes, the skirts, the peacock tights, my dress, the teacup ring, just basic stuff. I know that there's some items on the website that are a little bit more expensive, and then there are some that are very inexpensive. So you can find lots of fun things. I know shoes, especially ballet flats, a lot of times you can find for at least around $20. And so that's not too bad. It's pretty comparable to most places that you would go to buy shoes. I also get a lot of stuff from Old Navy, like the basics, the layering things. This scarf is from Old Navy, this sweater. I use cardigans all the time because a lot of times I'll wear an interesting t-shirt. Like, for example, during our week where we celebrated Dr. Seuss, I made my Dr. Seuss t-shirts each day with the different characters, but it was cold, number one, but I also wanted to still look somewhat professional, so I put a cardigan that was a different color, and so I got all of those from Old Navy. It's pretty inexpensive, does the job, and I still feel like I'm balancing that professionalism with the fun. Thank you so much for watching this video podcast from elementarySchoolCounseling.org. I hope that you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and YouTube. If you have any questions, you can always contact me on my contact page just by filling out the form. And finally, I really hope that after watching this, you are a little bit more comfortable expressing yourself through your clothing. So whether it's something small like just wearing fun socks, or you're gonna do something big like mismatch everything that you're wearing, I hope that you feel comfortable doing that and that you can really have a big impact at your own building.